Like when I write this word up, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see that word? The first word that comes to your mind. You see that word, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What's that? Different personalities? Okay, what else comes to mind? What's that? Tantrums? Tension. So let me ask you something. When we look at this list of words, when we think about the word conflict, because I notice that some people here talk about interests, and some people talk about different personalities and opportunities. I love that. But it's an opportunity. But when we wake up in the morning, and there's some conflict, we're disagreeing with someone, the first thing that comes to mind, do you think, wow, an opportunity to learn more about them and learn more about me? Is that the first thing that comes up? That's not the first thing that comes up. And look, I teach this stuff, and it's not the first thing that comes up for me. Okay? I've had to train myself, and this is something that you really have to get in your bones. But I think that it's fair to say that one of the first barriers to communication is that we have negative associations with conflict. Does that make sense? Okay? The second barrier to communication, I would say, is the nature of the human mind. Psychologists say, I've got good news, I've got bad news. The good news is, human beings are these incredibly complex creatures. We have about 40 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Isn't that amazing? We process so much information. The bad news is, 80% of those thoughts are A, negative, and B, those thoughts are related to the same thoughts you had yesterday, the day before that, the day before that, and the day before that, going all the way back to when you were 3 years old. It's related to my relationship, am I in shape, that problem person at work. We tend to think in patterned ways, and it tends to be negative. Now, I just said 80% of your thoughts are negative. Nobody's shaking their heads. Right? Isn't that interesting? 80% of our thoughts are negative. Seeing smiles, seeing nodding of heads. That means that when you came here tonight, and when you walked in the room, you're like, who is this guy? What's he going to say? Is he going to say anything interesting? We really don't know. Right? And I the same thing. Oh God, I got to talk to these people. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Raise your hand if you have kids. Who has kids? Raise your hand if you were a kid. Okay, so everybody should be able to relate to this story. Okay, so you're a parent, you're coming in, two sisters are fighting, your kids are fighting. I want the orange, no, I want the orange, no, I want the orange. Now, what are the options? What can we do? Someone tell me. What is someone like? We can cut it in half. By golly, that's the good old compromise. What are some other things we might be able to do?
Take the orange away.
Take it away. You know what? I'm sick of you kids fighting. I'm eating the orange. What are some other things you might do? What's that? Arrange a competition? That you give them swords? Fight it out amongst yourselves. I'm going in the other room. What's that? Well, suppose there's not another orange. One person said, well, you can turn and say, you're my favorite daughter this week, I'm giving you the orange. And these are all different approaches to conflict. And suppose we have taken a course and we go, I wonder what the underlying need is here. And we say to the sisters, what do you want the orange for? And one sister says, well, I'm hungry, I want to eat the orange, what else? And then the mother turns to or you turn to the other sister and say, well, what do you want the orange for? Well, I'm trying to bake a cake, so I want the peel to bake a cake. Oh, I see. So the position is, I want the orange. But the underlying need is very different. The one sister wants the fruit for eating, the other wants the peel for baking. Now you see how by going to the needs, we were able to discover something new? By going to the needs. Okay, just that distinction alone. Okay, sometimes this is difficult to do because we tend to get emotional when our position is at stake. We tend to think at a certain speed. We actually talk more slowly than our minds move. So part of what happens when I'm talking to you is that you're thinking ahead. Your mind is moving so fast, which is why you're losing what I'm saying. Now, let me give you a process called inquiring behavior. And then we'll do a little role play. We'll model it for you. And then we'll give you a chance. What I'd like you to do is find a partner. So everybody find a partner. So you need to go sit next to somebody? Anybody need a partner? Fine, this is the experiential part of the program. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick an A and a B. Someone's going to be A, someone's going to go be B. Okay, so do that now. Okay. All right, so B's are going to go first. So B's, here's what I want you to do, B's. B's, I want you to talk about some success that you've had recently, okay, which will be, paragraphs worth. And I want A's to attend and listen and paraphrase again. Let me make sure I have this right. Are you saying that? Okay? So everybody ready? All right, do that now. Now's the time when you need to ask me questions, okay? Because what I do is, and I can do this for the whole group, we can do reverse role plays with you. I can kind of show you how this works. Because this is a place where people get a little bit fuzzy. All right, it's easy to just paraphrase when it's something that's nice, but when there's conflict, sometimes we get a little bit confused. It's not really clear what's going on. What's my part, what's their part? That same thing, what's me, what's them, right? Get a little confused. It's natural, okay? So B's, you're going to pick a conflict, and then you're going to both try to see if you can figure out the difference between the position and the needs. And then, after a minute or so, see if you can figure it out, and then I'll get you to come back to the group, and we'll do some question and answer, see if you can figure it out. Can we convene the group again? So let's bring it back, please. Come back. All right, so my question to you is, were you able to find the underlying need behind the position?
What happens when you deal with a conflict, we reach an agreement how to proceed in two situations, and we agree on that one. And if another situation comes around and the rules are broken, and it keeps going over and over and over and over, like for a year. So how can you resolve that?
Well, it sounds like it's not the relationship. The relationship isn't important to this person. Is that right?
The relationship also is important because you got to work with this person.
Yeah.
But
is this your boss?
yeah.
There's so much that I could talk to you about around trust and the nature of trust and how this comes down to what we call conversational distinctions. And there's been research in these conversational distinctions that bring out what trust is and how to create it, especially if you're a leader. If you want to come and talk to me afterwards, I can talk to you about some of the research around what we call conversational distinctions on the difference between commitments and requests and declarations and assertions and how to create trust in your organization. Okay? Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. And